Hi Patrick. I get a lot of support calls from customers that used to work in AutoCAD and have recently upgraded themselves to AutoCAD Architecture. A lot of the questions that they have is they're not really familiar with the new tools that are in architecture, but they do need to still remain productive. Can you help us out for these people to be able to move from AutoCAD to AutoCAD Architecture seamlessly?
That's actually a really good question and something that does come up quite a bit. You know, in some of the previous versions of AutoCAD Architecture, the install wizard would automatically install an additional shortcut that would allow you to use AutoCAD Architecture but with an AutoCAD profile.
Oh.
So instead of having all your toolbars and things that we have inside of AutoCAD Architecture, you would have the more conventional sort of classic AutoCAD tools available. Does that sound like what these people are after?
Yeah, a lot of them are mostly concerned about the new interface in AutoCAD Architecture.
I really enjoy the ribbon, but I find that there are still some AutoCAD toolbars that I like to have available.
Yeah, I heard those were replaced by the ribbon.
Yeah, that seems to be Autodesk's intent with the ribbon, and for many of your day-to-day things, the ribbon really is able to replace those toolbars, but I still find that there are a couple of little toolbars that I like to use so frequently that I still like to have those visible on the screen.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to see the toolbars as well, at least until I get used to the ribbons.
Okay, so what I want to do is just go through a few steps that anyone that is installing AutoCAD Architecture can go through to make sure that these profiles are being set up correctly. So I've just launched the installer. One of the things that you'll see after the first couple of screens where you put in your serial number, and of course 2010 now has a product key. You're aware of that, right?
Yeah, that's on the package.
Right, so the product key is something that is unique for each one of the product lines. So it's not unique per customer, but for instance, AutoCAD would have a different product key than AutoCAD Architecture. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Alright, so after you've got those filled in, you can go on to the next screen that asks you for your user information and so on. But now we're at the meat of things where we can actually go through and we can configure some of these options. So notice if you look at the little summary of the current sections or the current settings here, you see that there are actually different content packs that are being installed as well as different shortcuts. You'll see that with the default out-of-the-box setup, it's going to be installing a shortcut for US Imperial as well as US Metric, but there is not one that is installed by default for AutoCAD. So I'm going to go through and show you how to set this up. So we're just going to click on the Configure button, choose what type of license we're using. In this case, we're just doing a standalone. So I'll go to Next. We don't want to just do a typical installation. We're going to go in and customize that. So we can go through there and we can set up a few of the things that we need to adjust there. Just be aware that there are quite a few different setups that you can adjust. We can also make sure that Express tools are being installed.
Yeah, a lot of people ask for those.
Yeah, that's a big one, and for some reason it doesn't set that up by default. But we're just now going to go to Next. So here we have the ability of going through and choosing which of these content packs and which profiles are being installed. So for instance, if you didn't really need the US metric content, we could just go ahead and uncheck it there. You see that it grays out. Now one of the things that is a little misleading is you see that the AutoCAD 2010 profile is checked.
So you would think it would be there.
Yeah, you would think that. But actually you need to look over off to the right and you see desktop shortcut is set up and it says no. So we just need to go to that little drop down, set that up as yes. So now as we go on to the next step, as we go through the install, it's going to create several different shortcuts for us. One of those will be a specific AutoCAD shortcut. So when we go ahead and double click on that, it's going to launch the software, but it's not going to load all of the AutoCAD Architecture programs. It's only going to load AutoCAD itself, it's also going to have a different profile that is assigned so that you have those toolbars, you have that CUI, you have those workspaces.
So it's almost like loading both products.
Exactly. So for some of you who may actually own both products, both AutoCAD as well as AutoCAD Architecture, there's no reason at all for you to install both of those products on that system. Just go ahead and install AutoCAD Architecture and just make sure that you install both of those shortcuts.
Great.
Okay, so as you go through just some of these advanced things that you can do if you are wanting to customize where the content is going to go, this is where you can set all of that up. We're just going to go and next through this. So one of the really cool things that they did with the 2010 release is they have integrated right there into the wizard a little search that contacts the Autodesk server and checks to see if there is a more recent version of the software that is available. If there is, it gives us the option of bringing the service pack right in and building it into the install, which is really cool.
Well, that saves time.
Definitely. So we just go through it next. You'll get to this screen that says the configuration is complete. You're now ready to click the configuration complete button and go on to the step of installing.